I woke up that morning feeling off. Just a normal stretch, yawn, and shuffle to the bathroom. But when I saw myself in the mirror, my world stopped. My face wasn't exactly mine anymore. My jawline seemed softer, my lips fuller, my eyes bigger, somehow. And when I took a breath, my chest felt different too. I stumbled back, gripping the sink. "Mom, what did you do?" My voice sounded higher than normal. Panic surged, my heart hammering in my chest. My mom peeked around the door, calm as ever. "Good morning, sweetie," she said, her smile innocent yet unnervingly knowing. "Sleep well?" I couldn't respond. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, but my reflection seemed to whisper something else, something I wasn't ready to admit. A small part of me was curious. "Oh, nothing too serious," she said, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "Just helping you see a different side of yourself. You'll thank me later." I backed away, confusion and fear mixing into a tight knot in my stomach. My entire body felt foreign, yet I couldn't tear my eyes away from the mirror. The next few days were unbearable. Every mirror in the house became a reminder of the new me that I didn't recognize. I would catch glimpses of myself everywhere: bathroom mirror, kitchen window, even the glossy screen of my laptop, and each time, my stomach sank. I felt like I was living someone else's life, trapped in a body that didn't feel like mine. At school, everything felt off. My friends noticed subtle changes: my posture, the way I moved, even the tone of my voice. One of them, Liam, gave me a weird look during lunch. "Dude, you seem different. Everything okay?" I forced a laugh, shoving my hands into my pockets. Yeah, I'm fine," I muttered, but inside, panic clawed at me. I couldn't tell them the truth. Not yet. I didn't even fully understand it myself. Home was no relief either. My mom was relentless, but she acted like nothing had changed. Makeup kits appeared on my desk overnight, delicate nail polishes found their way into my drawer, and hairbrushes multiplied mysteriously in my room. "Try this blouse, honey," she said one afternoon, holding up a pastel pink top. "It'll bring out your eyes." I shook my head, heart racing. "Mom, I can't. I don't even know what's happening to me." "Honey," she said softly, stepping closer, "you're just exploring a new side of yourself. Trust me, you'll like it once you get used to it." Her voice was calm, soothing, but there was a sharpness in her gaze I couldn't ignore. Even ordinary routines became a minefield. Walking down the hallway, I felt every glance from neighbors and friends magnified. Every whisper in the cafeteria made my ears burn. I felt exposed, vulnerable, as if the world could see the change in me before I even acknowledged it myself. I began avoiding mirrors. I'd glance nervously at reflections in windows or spoons, panicking when I caught the soft outline of my changing features. At night, I would lie awake, wondering if my body was betraying me, if I was losing control of who I really was. And yet, a tiny, guilty part of me couldn't help being curious. Every fleeting thought of applying a little lipstick, or trying one of the outfits my mom suggested, sparked an odd excitement. Fear and fascination wove together into a tight knot I didn't know how to untangle. At this point, I realized something terrifying. I was being pushed, nudged, subtly guided into someone I didn't recognize, and yet, part of me wanted to explore it. I couldn't stop thinking about the changes, even when I tried. Curiosity clawed at me like a persistent whisper I couldn't ignore. One night, after everyone had gone to bed, I sneaked into my room, heart pounding, and sat on the edge of my bed staring at the pile of clothes and makeup my mom had accidentally left for me. It started small. A brush of my fingers against a soft blouse. A hesitant dab of nail polish on one shaky finger. My hands shook as I twisted open a tube of lipstick, a soft pink shade. The reflection in my mirror seemed to beckon me. Just a little, it seemed to say. I applied it slowly, my pulse racing. The effect was immediate. My lips looked softer, alive in a way they had never been before. I blinked at my reflection, stunned. My heart hammered. "What am I doing?" I whispered, but part of me didn't want to stop. Encouraged by that small victory, I moved on. I brushed my hair into a loose wave, watching how it framed my face differently. I experimented with blush, carefully blending color along my cheekbones. Every stroke of the brush, every swipe of color, felt like discovering a hidden part of myself. The guilt and fear were still there, but excitement mingled with them, a thrilling, dangerous combination. I started talking to myself in the mirror, practicing a softer tone of voice. "Hello, how are you today?" I whispered, almost laughing at how awkward it sounded. But then I tried again, softer, gentler, and it was different. It felt natural. Strange, but natural. Clothes became another form of exploration. I tried skirts, dresses, tops I had never imagined wearing. Each outfit was a puzzle, balancing fear, curiosity, and a secret sense of thrill. The fabric brushing against my skin, the weight of a skirt swishing with each movement, it was intoxicating. Every new piece I tried made me feel lighter, somehow freer, even if I was still trembling inside. I began recording myself in secret, using my phone's camera as a mirror I could manipulate. Watching the videos later, I noticed the subtle changes, the way my shoulders softened, how my posture adjusted unconsciously, how my expressions shifted. It was both fascinating and terrifying. I barely recognized the person staring back at me, yet a part of me liked it. The experimentation wasn't just physical. I found myself changing my gestures, the way I sat, the way I moved my hands. I practiced walking in heels around my room, tripping a few times, laughing nervously, then walking again. I experimented with my expressions, trying coy smiles, soft laughs, tilts of the head. Each attempt made me feel exposed, yet exhilarated. There were nights I would sit on my bed, staring at my reflection, completely still, as if trying to memorize this new me. And then, sometimes, I would cry, out of fear, confusion, and the strange realization that I was slowly losing the me I had always known. But mixed in with the tears was a spark of discovery, a thrill I couldn't deny. I began to realize something I hadn't expected. This wasn't just my mom's plan anymore. It was mine too. Every choice, every small experiment, every hesitant swipe of lipstick became mine. And as much as I feared being discovered, I also craved the freedom of exploring this secret, forbidden side of myself. By the end of that week, I had developed a ritual. My room became a sanctuary. I would lock the door, pull out my clothes and makeup, and slowly, carefully, transform into the version of me that existed only here, in private. And each time I looked in the mirror, I caught glimpses of someone stronger, someone more confident, someone different, yet undeniably me. The private experiments soon weren't enough. The thrill I felt behind closed doors demanded more. I wanted to test this new side of me in the real world, even if just a little. The first time I stepped outside in one of my mom's dresses, I nearly froze at the door. My hands trembled as I smoothed the fabric, glanced in the hallway mirror, and whispered to myself, "You can do this." The walk to the corner store was terrifying. Every passerby felt like a judge. My heart pounded, legs stiff, and yet, something inside me soared. No one stared, no one whispered. Some gave friendly smiles. A small part of me, a part one had almost forgotten, thrived on that freedom. By the time I got home, my legs felt lighter, my chest less tight with anxiety. I had survived. And strangely, I wanted more. Over the next few weekends, I tested myself further. I wore skirts and heels to a friend's birthday gathering. I practiced my new voice until it felt natural, laughing softly when I overdid it, or smiled too shyly. Each small interaction, compliments from strangers, casual greetings, or even confused glances, felt like validation, like tiny milestones marking my progress. One afternoon at a cafe, I nervously ordered coffee, my voice soft but steady. The barista smiled warmly. "Lovely outfit," she said. My chest tightened, part relief, part excitement. I realized that the world wasn't as cruel as I feared. I could exist as this version of myself and maybe even enjoy it. But growth wasn't linear. Some days were terrifying. I'd walk into a store and freeze when someone looked too long, panic rising, forcing me to retreat. I learned to hide behind oversized jackets or long hair on those days, but even that taught me something. I could manage my fear, adapt, and try again. Every stumble made me stronger. I started experimenting with social interactions more boldly. I went to small gatherings in my new persona, testing how people responded to the softer, more feminine version of me. I discovered that I could blend excitement and anxiety in a way that felt alive. I wasn't just hiding behind clothes. I was exploring an identity that had always been dormant, waiting for permission to emerge. My mom, of course, observed from the sidelines. She offered advice without pressuring me, like a coach who had trained me without my knowledge. "Try tilting your head a little," she suggested one day. "It makes your smile more engaging." Every small tip she offered felt like magic, but I knew it was also manipulation. And yet, I couldn't help appreciating it. She had unlocked something inside me I never knew existed. With each weekend outing, my confidence grew. I started walking taller, making eye contact, smiling more naturally. There was a rhythm, a balance between thrill and fear, that became addictive. I caught myself thinking, I actually like this. I can do this. I want to do this. The secret that had begun as a forced transformation was slowly becoming my own journey. By the time I returned from one particular weekend stroll, I realized something important. I was no longer just experimenting. I was evolving. The reflection I saw in the mirror after returning home was no longer entirely foreign. There was still a hint of shock, yes, but now it was accompanied by pride. I had stepped into the world as this new me and survived. And more than that, I had enjoyed it. It all came to a head one evening during a family gathering. I had spent hours choosing the perfect outfit, a soft, flowing dress, delicate curls in my hair, and carefully applied makeup that felt both daring and natural. My heart pounded as I descended the stairs, each step feeling heavier than the last. As I entered the living room, the room fell into a quiet hush. My mom's eyes sparkled with pride, but there was also that knowing, almost mischievous look I had come to both resent and respect. My father raised his eyebrows, his expression unreadable. Friends and extended family glanced at me, whispers filling the space like an invisible current. Panic gripped me. My throat tightened, and my hands shook. This is it. They know. Everyone knows. My mind raced with worst-case scenarios: laughter, ridicule, rejection. I felt exposed, vulnerable, like every secret I had been guarding had exploded into the open. "Wow," my mom said, clapping slowly. "You look amazing." Her smile was warm, but the tension in the room made it feel like a test. I froze, unsure what to do. Part of me wanted to retreat, rip off the dress, and pretend none of this had ever happened. The other part, the part one had nurtured in secret, the side that had grown braver with every outing, every experiment, stood tall inside me. I took a deep breath, shaking, and whispered, "Thanks." My voice was soft, but steady enough to carry across the room. For the first time, I didn't feel ashamed. I didn't feel like a puppet. I felt alive. Eyes turned toward me, and the room held its breath. I forced myself to meet their gaze, smile faintly, and hold my posture. The whispers didn't vanish, but I noticed that no one laughed. No one mocked me. I realized that fear had been my biggest enemy, not anyone else. My friends adjusted quickly. Some complimented me, awkwardly at first, but sincerely. Even my dad nodded slowly, a faint smile tugging at his lips. I realized then that acceptance wasn't about everyone understanding. It was about claiming my own identity, refusing to shrink back into fear. In that moment, I made a choice. I would no longer hide behind secrecy. I would no longer let fear dictate who I could be. I would embrace this transformation, fully, with all its excitement, risk, and beauty. The room seemed to breathe with me. The tension didn't disappear completely, but it softened. And for the first time, I felt the power of standing in my own truth, even under scrutiny, even when the world seemed to hold its judgment like a sword above me. After that night, everything shifted. The weight I had been carrying, the fear, the guilt, the constant hiding, slowly began to lift. For the first time, I felt like I was reclaiming my life. The reflection in the mirror was no longer something foreign or frightening. It was me. Confident, curious, and unapologetically authentic. My mom's role changed too. She became a guide rather than a manipulator. She offered advice only when I asked, celebrating my discoveries instead of orchestrating them. "You've really come into your own," she said one afternoon, brushing a curl behind my ear. "I'm proud of you." Her pride wasn't just in me wearing dresses or makeup. It was in my courage to explore, to grow, and to embrace my truth. I also discovered an unexpected sense of community online. I connected with people who had walked similar paths, sharing stories, tips, and encouragement. It was a reminder that I wasn't alone, that my journey was valid, and that every step, hesitant or bold, was worth it. Outings that once filled me with dread now became adventures. I walked into cafes, stores, and gatherings with my head held high, feeling a mix of exhilaration and calm I had never experienced before. Compliments no longer shocked me, strangers' smiles no longer made me freeze. I had learned to navigate the world as this new version of myself, and I thrived. The transformation wasn't just about appearances. It was internal, emotional, and deeply empowering. I learned that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's acting despite it. Every skirt I wore, every careful swipe of makeup, every soft laugh or confident step became a declaration. I exist as I am, and I refuse to apologize. Even my relationships deepened. Friends who were hesitant at first grew supportive. Family interactions became gentler, more honest. I could share small details, little victories, and moments of self-discovery without feeling exposed. I realized that embracing who I am invited connection, rather than rejection. Looking back, I understood that this journey wasn't just about my mom's plan, it was about me. Her control had sparked the transformation, but my choice had made it real. I wasn't just a reflection in a mirror anymore. I was a person who had faced fear, curiosity, and uncertainty, and had emerged stronger, braver, and more authentic than ever. Looking back, I realized that transformation isn't just about what you wear or how you look, it's about courage, curiosity, and embracing who you truly are, even when the world pushes you in unexpected directions. My mom's plan may have started as control, but it led me to self-discovery I never would have dared on my own. I learned that fear is temporary, but authenticity lasts. Every step, every choice, every experiment taught me to trust myself, to explore without shame, and to celebrate the person I've become. So if there's one thing I want you to remember, don't hide from your curiosity, don't shrink from change, and never apologize for exploring your true self. Sometimes, the most unexpected journeys lead to the most beautiful destinations.